By the power of God, Satan, and the Bear Conductor, it came from the internet. Hello, everyone. I'm David, and I'm joined here, as always, by Dylan. Say something, Dylan.
Uh, the combat in Breath of the Wild is the worst in any Zelda game.
I mean, you're wrong, and the internet will agree that you're wrong. But
Maybe Skyward Sword is worse. I haven't played Skyward Sword,
Oh
but
no, that totally is. The Skyward Sword combat sucks.
Maybe that one. But like, in terms of you put it up against Twilight Princess or Wind Waker, I think it's way worse.
You're bananas. But if yes, the weapon durability thing sucks, but you're bananas otherwise. But shut up and talk about the stupid thing you want to talk about.
We're gonna talk about Digimon.
You know, this is like the worst fucking technicality ever. Like, you literally found one of the few stupid technicalities for this show. Because literally, Digimon came from the internet. Not literally isn't in the real world, but literally in what Digimon are, you prick.
I thought this would be funnier than it's actually turning out to be. Because when we were talking in the Discord, and I brought it up, and I thought, oh shit, we should do that for our April Fool's episode. And then, as I was researching it, I was like, this isn't funny. There's no joke here.
Duh, no, there isn't a joke here. But it's like, to be fair though, it fits with an April Fool's joke. It's just stupid. There is no joke with it.
And that it's not, yeah. But we're here. So let's talk about Digimon. David, what do you know about Digimon?
Not a whole lot. I saw the movie in the theaters.
Holy shit.
That movie ends with Smash Mouth All-Star.
It does. Holy, I forgot.
No, I don't remember anything about them because the movie itself was basically, it was two different movies.
It's three different movies.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's three. So it's
we'll talk about that.
Episodes of the show basically, but with
we'll talk about that in we'll discuss that one in greater detail because I have a very personal history with that movie.
Okay.
That I'd like to get into. But before we get to that point, probably at some point, I can't remember any specific.
I know Pokemon the movie made me cry.
The Pokemon the movie is sad as shit, though. It doesn't make any sense, but
because they kill everyone and then bring them back to life with the power of love.
Like, I don't understand how like Mewtwo and Mew hitting Ash turns him into stone.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant to this discussion.
I don't understand how Pokemon Tears brought him back. Did you know that's a plot hole in the American version? Because in the Japanese version, they do establish that earlier in the film.
That Pokemon Tears are healing.
It's like they bring up a fairy tale of a woman who was turned to stone, and like a Dragonite's tears brought her back to life or something. That's not in the American one.
That's not relevant.
It's kind of relevant. We'll talk. It'll tie into some stuff later.
The tears of Pokemon.
Yeah. The best part of that the best part of the Pokemon movie is that in that movie. Wait, hold on. You have to let me get this out.
We have to talk about Digimon.
The best part of the Pokemon movie is that they all learn the lesson that like Pokemon fighting is bad, and then they all forget. That's the best part.
I'm glad I'm drinking this episode, so I'm just going to drink to forget everything you say.
Great. So Digimon started in 1996, I think.
Digital Monsters.
Digital Monsters. The Digimon was not actually created. Yeah. It was not actually created as an answer to Pokemon, like some might think. I think the most apt description for Digimon is that it is the Sonic to Pokemon's Mario.
Well, but Sonic was created like in response to Mario. Well, the story of Sonic is very complicated, but Sonic, as we know it, was created directly as a response to Mario, thanks to Mr. Tom Kalinske and Sega of America, despite the fact that Sega of Japan created the game.
I didn't know. I didn't know the Unabomber made Sonic the Hedgehog. That explains a lot.
That's Ted Kaczynski.
Whatever. Pokemon. Digimon is never as good as Pokemon, but it takes more risks, and as a result, the property I think is a lot more interesting.
So what are Digimon?
Digimon are digital monsters, and they are exactly what I fucking hate you so much, David. Exactly what they are differs based on continuity, but the general agreed upon definition is that when in the 90s, when the world's communication networks were starting to become more sophisticated, more connected, Digimon sort of formed as a consciousness within the network, within
so
the internet.
They're like ISOs from Tron.
That's a very they're like, it's Tron, but instead of a single computer, it's the internet.
I'm glad I'm keeping Tron relevant. It's my purpose in life, to remind people that Tron exists.
Fucking dog, god damn it. Shit, where was I? God damn it, I'm all flustered now. This episode
Digimon
sucks.
You explained why Digimon they became a thing because of the internet.
Yeah, in different continuities, they've even explained that there have been Digimon as long as there has been computer networks. In some of the games, they explain that the very first computer defense system in 1932 is where the first Digimon was made.
So why is this not consistent then?
Okay, I guess we can go ahead and talk about this. When you talk about Pokemon, there is a source. There's a central source, and it's the games, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, everything in Pokemon comes from those games. That's where the Pokemon are made. That's where the money is started. And everything else is derivative of it.
There has never been a Pokemon introduced there's never been a Pokemon introduced in the show or in the manga or anything. It's always been in the games first. With the games comes the Pokemon.
I think there have been Pokemon who have shown up in the show before the games, but it's usually a promotional thing.
Like Destiny Deoxys.
Yeah, like the showrunners don't make Pokemon. It's all Game Freak that makes them. That's the central pillar of what Pokemon is. You know? The show has never created... The show didn't create Mega Evolutions or Z moves or new types. Only the games ever do that. The card game can be a little weird because they'll add in like weird shit like break moves and junk. But for the most part, it's all the games. Digimon does not have that. It has no central pillar. And as a result, it's incredibly fractured. So there are dozens of narratives working off the same basic lore, but they're reinterpreting and they're adding to it, and it just becomes this tapestry of bullshit that has spanned the last 20 years.
Okay. So the different seasons of Digimon don't build on each other. You're saying there's been reboots and shit?
Yes. Save the first two, every season of Digimon is its own continuity. The first two are in continuity with each other, but after that, they start fresh every time. For the most part, that's true of the games as well. Every game is usually its own thing, and every piece of media in Digimon is drawing from the same source, but they're constantly reinterpreting it, and they're adding to it simultaneously.
Okay.
Fuck. Ask me another question about Digimon, David.
What other questions should I have about Digimon?
Let's talk about how Digimon live their lives. Digimon.
So what is a Digimon besides a digital monster? Like they're created by it's like how they say, what is it, like 30 years or whatever, or by 2030, the entire computing power of every network device will be the equivalent of 45 human brains, or is it 50 human brains or whatever?
I don't know. I've never heard that. That's terrifying.
So it's these living intelligences that are forming out of communication networks.
It's a kind of digital. It's a kind of digital abiogenesis, basically. Of Digimon just seem to.
No, I think you mean biodigital jazz, man.
God damn it! I hate you so much, David.
Come on, Tron Legacy is great.
Great's a very strong word.
It's good. It's visually
Digimon just sort of. Sure, it's visually stimulating.
Spectacular. Visually spectacular.
Yeah.
And that soundtrack is Daft Punk's best album.
Didn't they, like, completely rescore the film?
What?
Like, Disney went in and they listened to the Daft Punk version and they, like, ripped it all out and redid the score from scratch.
No, they didn't.
I swear that's true. Like, there's only, like, one Daft Punk song in the actual film.
No, Daft Punk did the score. There's one Daft Punk song in the film, but that's because the rest is score music that they created.
I swear I read a story that, like, Daft Punk had another version of the soundtrack that Disney threw out because they didn't like it. It was a Daft Punk album.
Keep talking about Digimon. I'm looking this up.
These are words I never wanted to hear. Shit, what was I reading? What did I have written down here? Let me see I'll just read what I wrote here. Digimon exists as a bizarre kind of digital life forms. Forming in the digital world, Digimon are beings of data created in the network that was taking. Digimon puts forth the idea that in any sufficiently complex system, Sapience does not just have a chance to form, it has a guarantee. Digimon can be argued as an example of the ghost in the machine, the idea of consciousness being separate from physical form. What the fuck did I write here?
I don't know. You wrote it.
Insane. This is wrong. This is all wrong. Fuck this. No, that's not what this is. Digimon are fucking bullshit 90s junk.
Did you smoke a bunch of weed and research Digimon?
I don't know. I don't have anyone to buy weed from. I live straight edge, David.
I like that the response is not, I don't smoke weed. It's, I don't have someone to get weed from. So no, I don't smoke weed.
I mean, it's the, you know, I probably wouldn't even if I did, but I also don't have the opportunity.
Okay.
What the digital world is. The digital world is where the Digimon exists.
So there's only 3 things to do, Dylan.
Talk about Digimon?
No, 3 things to do in the digital world.
What's that?
Pie graphs, digital style, and digital dancing. You know this.
Oh! Right. Sure.
So talk about pie graphs, digital style, and digital dancing in references to Digimon.
The digital world is, in most interpretations, presented as a kind of lost voice. It's a massive, like, it's a giant lack. It's kind of like the Lost World meets Wonderland, in that
isn't it Tron?
Isn't
it Tron, but less blue and black?
There's almost no like actual digital elements to the interpret mostly.
Is it like the astral plane?
It's a jungle that occasionally.
So no giant.
It's an actual fucking jungle. Like if you fell into the digital world.
Dylan, you're breaking up.
All right.
You're breaking up.
Am I breaking up?
Yes. Very badly. Give it a minute. And then we'll keep going. And you can edit this out since you're actually editing now.
Tap to return to the call.
All right, let's try now.
All right. Do I sound...
So before we continue talking about what the digital world is, which seems to be just like an expansive jungle with nothing to do with digital stuff, there's nothing about what you said about the Tron soundtrack that I can find on the internet. I think you dreamt that.
I did. I think it's... Who knows? Whatever. The digital world is it's not all jungle, it's also like deserts and shit, but it's like a natural world. Like it's actually, in a weird way, I guess it's maybe the most interesting interpretation of I guess it's maybe a more interesting interpretation of what a virtual reality would look like, because it's just a normal reality, really. And at the time, that was probably out of laziness, but it's actually stood up to scrutiny better than most interpretations of what virtual reality would look like.
Except for Tron.
Except for Tron. So it's a giant world, but it's not an actual physical world.
So what is it?
It doesn't abide by the rules of logic. So you can take 10 steps and walk through like 6 different biomes, and they're just like perfectly separated.
Okay.
And it's all data, so someone can manipulate it. Structures.
So you can like become god of the digital world by manipulating the data. How does one access the digital world? Like, I know they get sucked into it in the show and shit, but like you're saying, like you can manipulate it. Like, how do I find the digital world from the real world?
It's a hard question, because the digital world is generally presented as not solely like, it seems to be an actual universe formed out of the consciousness of computers. You know, the idea that
Digimon sounds like Pokemon for people who like weed.
It's Pokemon for like teenagers, for like 15 and 16-year-olds, basically.
I don't know. I know a lot of 15 and 16-year-olds that like Pokemon.
Yeah, that's because everyone you know is a fucking dork.
You like Pokemon. Fuck you.
I didn't say I wasn't. I'm just saying.
I know non-dorks too, okay? But you forget how popular Pokemon Go is.
It's pretty, yeah, but that's a normie game.
Yeah, but normies like Pokemon is what I'm saying.
Whatever. Fuck, you're getting me all off track here. What was I saying?
It's like you expected me not to be here for this.
Fuck.
Did you know the best way to fish in Zelda, Dylan, is to just throw bombs into the water?
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's the best way to fish in real life, too.
The fish just die and float to the top of the water and sit there. And then you can cook them into delicious food.
So you know that idea that like their own consciousness, that they are taking like any new idea a human has, they are actually drawing from like another universe that they're tuning into.
It's what do you call it? It's the joined subconscious. It's whatever that is.
It's an interpretation of the collective consciousness theory.
Yes.
But instead of connecting to all of humanity, you are connecting into another universe.
Which is the Digimon.
And that's where you are. Digital world is basically that, but instead of humanity, it's computers. Computers are connecting into this existing universe, and they are providing for this universe to be built. Now, as a result,
so
generally,
the Digimon world is the collective unconsciousness of the computer.
Yes.
This is all
maybe the best way of thinking of saying it. The digital world are the collective unconsciousness of humanity's information network.
Okay.
Like that, it sounds super fucking rad.
It does sound super fucking rad.
It's not rad in the show. It's real fucking stupid.
Oh.
One interpretation of the digital world is that it is actually where all destroyed data goes. So when you like delete programs, they end up in the digital world and they take on a physical form.
It's the wasteland from Epic Mickey.
In some interpretations, not all. So when you go to the digital world,
exactly what that is.
Like shit lying around that doesn't really make sense. Like there's restaurants and shit, and no one seems to maintain them, but they're here. The reason they're there is because it was someone's job to like draw blueprints for this place, and when they were rejected, he deletes them, and then they end up in the digital world and they take on an actual form.
Okay, I'm on board. I'm following along.
So that's humanity is not creating the digital world, but through the information network, they are providing information for this universe to take form. Is one interpretation of it. Generally speaking, though, the digital world can be manipulated with computers once you're inside it, but it's difficult.
How do you manipulate the digital world with computers from inside of it? Like, can you bring a computer with you into the digital world?
Yes, they usually do.
How?
It's almost a requirement.
Oh, because of cell phones?
Well, like, I mean, this was before cell phones, but one of the main characters has a laptop that he is able to use to sort of fuck with code. And it's complex code. It's not easy to fuck with, but you can do it.
So Digimon is Pokemon for total nerds.
I mean, that's what Pokemon is.
No, not like this.
Yeah, it's a little more intensive, I would say, than Pokemon is. But
You're just
basically
talking about how one of the main characters is handling intense fucking code on his laptop.
To be fair, he is not a I guess he's a main character, but he's a side character. Digimon are able to reform the environment in their own ways. Notably, Digimon are not like pure code. They are. It's not like if you cut a Digimon open, you're just going to find like ones and zeros. They are physical things.
Okay.
They have to eat and sleep and shit.
Okay.
So when they come to the human world, they also have to like eat constantly. Have a
so they
Digimon
don't have
live
to eat in the digital world?
They do have to eat.
Okay.
Every time they're basically living creatures. They use stamina, they get tired, they have to eat, they have to sleep, and the ultimate goal of a Digimon is to digivolve.
Which is evolve.
Yeah. In Japan, they just straight up just call it evolution. They call it Digivolution in America to sort of separate it a little more. Digivolution is fundamentally identical to evolution in Pokemon, but it's far more complex because there are 7 stages.
Wait, what?
There are 7 stages to the Digimon life cycle.
Have there always been 7, or is this bullshit they keep adding?
There was 6 originally, and then there's well, hold on. So there was 5 originally.
And then they've added 2 more.
Was one called Manga, and then early on there was maybe a 7th. Most modern stuff just calls that Mega as well. Although they've started to recently.
Okay.
So let me hold on a second.
So it's more pre-planned than say something like Dragon Ball, where Goku just keeps getting stronger.
Yeah, there's
always
more.
Another Super Saiyan level, and then one will turn him into a giant monkey, and then he'll turn into a little kid again with a tail.
Yeah. So let's see. There are 6 levels that are accepted. In Japan, there's Baby 1, Child. Child is the one that you see most of them as. That's like when they're like half the size of a person.
Like Goemon.
All the time. Yeah. Adult, Ultimate. Now, when they brought it to America, they changed them to sound cooler. In America, it's Baby, in training, Rookie, Ultimate, and then Mega. So that causes the highest level in Japan is Ultimate, highest level is Mega, but Ultimate is also a level.
Okay.
And it's different resources, because when they brought it to America, they changed a lot of stuff. A little confusing when talking about ultimates, because you can't really tell which
version
one is using. Yeah, it's not quite universal. There's a lot of people who stick with the American dub renditions, and there's a lot of people who stick with the Japanese renditions. Usually, if you're watching like subtitles online, they try to stick as close to the original as they can, so they use the Japanese ones. So if you're talking to people, you're most likely on the cutting edge, you're most likely talking in the Japanese terms. There are people who maintain the American ones. The preferred ones.
Okay.
So the basic idea of Digimon is another thing that's different from Pokemon is that Digimon don't have set forms. In Pokemon, a Charmander will always become a Charizard, right? Eventually.
So you're saying a Goemon can become something else?
What's this one you keep saying?
Goemon.
Goemon. Why do you say that one?
Because that's the one that isn't that Ty's one from the first season? The dinosaur thing?
That's
what?
Agumon.
Oh. So I don't know what I'm talking
about. An Agumon will not always turn into a Greymon. Turn into a myriad of other monsters. And they clearly design in like the Pokemon way of like, well, this one is clearly supposed to be the next form of Agumon. Oh no, fucking Teddy Bearmon can also turn into Greymon if his stats are right. So it's a branching system of your Digimon has the potential to turn into like one instead of just one.
Okay.
Digimon seem to spend their entire lives constantly accumulating data until they're big enough to reconfigure into the next form. Generally speaking, Digivolution is permanent. Digimon does it, they are in that form forever. In the show, however, they are able to skip it, or with the help of the Digidestined, the main characters, they can sort of force themselves to even should be able to, but they can only do it for a little while. Because most of the Digimon are really fucking big. And it's kind of a pain in the ass to have to write your story around having a little Godzilla following you around everywhere. For the record, we are going to be using the American terminology. So,
okay, well, let's keep this moving.
Yeah, going forward, just so you know, if we say ultimate, the almost ultimate, not the actual full ultimate. So there's a 7th level, potentially above Mega, called Ultra, that early on was talked about pretty extensively, but now most of those Digimon are reclassified as just stronger versions of Mega. Games have actually started to call them Ultras again, but for the most part, Mega seems to be the accepted classification. Usually, Digimon can't hit that level by themselves. Usually, they need to undergo a different form of Digivolution. Unlike Pokemon, which is fairly straightforward, there's like 12 versions of Digivolution. First form of Digivolution. Well, I'm glad you asked, David. The first form of Digivolution is obviously normal Digivolution, where the Digimon just accumulate data by eating, by beating other Digimon and eating them, and just generally, existing. For the record, Digimon do not technically die. Oh, great, my dog's here.
Yay!
Digimon don't actually die. When a Digimon dies, it breaks apart and its data reforms as a new egg, and it just sort of reincarnates.
Yay?
Always this way, but a lot of Digimon will retain memories from their past lives. There's a specific place in the digital world where Digimon go when they hatch in eggs, where they are supposed to be raised until they're strong enough to go out into the world on their own. But there's also a place called the Dark Sea that exists in the sort of underbelly of the digital world. And it's implied that evil Digimon go there when they're born instead of the actual proper place, and that's why they're all fucked up and evil.
Can we skip a bunch of this bullshit and get to the point where you find why you find Digimon so interesting? Because there was a good
Dark
period.
Digivolution. Dark Digivolution. It's it happens every fucking series one time, and then they never bring it back up. And it's what happens when the main character tries to force his Digimon to evolve, and they turn into an evil monster instead. And then there's usually like an episode where they're like, no, you can't evolve, you'll turn into a monster. And then they're like, no, I won't, because you're my friend. And then they evolve and they turn into their real ultimate form.
Which is a giant monster.
Yeah, it's a giant monster, but it's not feral. The most commonly cited one is there when Agumon.
So what you're telling me is in the Digimon world, feral animals are evil?
Feral Digimon are generally well, not all. They're not evil, but they just attack other Digimon instinctively. There are Digimon who are sentient and are like evil, like they have evil.
Like people. There's just
yes.
evil Digimon, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
So are the bad guys in the Digimon usually Digimon, or are they usually evil people controlling Digimon?
It's usually Digimon, And then a lot of the times they'll team up with evil people. Out of 10 Digimon. So it's basically a giant metaphor. Colonialism. The Digidestined are the white men coming to save the Darkies from their own warlords.
Why would Japan like that?
White man's burden, David. Anyway. The most famous example of Dark Digivolution happens when Agumon turns into Skull Greymon, a giant skeleton with a nuclear bomb. And he looks pretty fucking dope. And his actual ultimate form is Metal Greymon, who looks way more terrifying because he's just a giant T-Rex that someone has bolted robot parts onto.
Okay.
They don't use them enough. The thing about ultimate forms is that they're like through 2 fucking transformations to get to them, and so like ass to like write the story in such a way to justify Metal Greymon showing up, which sucks because he looks awesome. But I digress. Dark Digivolution is exclusive to the anime. In the games, if you get like an evil version of your own Digimon, they don't act any differently. They're just there. Skull Greymon, and he'll talk to you like normal.
Is that good or bad?
I think it's rad. I think it's awesome to have a giant skeleton buddy who just like goofs off with you. David. The third type of Digivolution is DNA Digivolution. Jogress Digivolution in Japan.
Okay.
Jogress. Because it's the word joint and progress put together. Jogress.
That is the dumbest thing ever. Why would you tell me that?
DNA Digivolution is introduced in the second Digimon OVA, our war game, and it is when 2 individual Digimon fuse together to form a bigger, stronger Digimon. This first happens in our war game at the end when the villain replicates himself like 1,000,000 fucking times, and the Digimon have to fuse together to form Omnimon, the strongest Digimon ever. Again.
Why?
Because it would be like it's like fucking 4 transformations in. They got to turn into their mega forms, and then they got to fuse into Omnimon, and then they have to fight the villain, and it's just a pain in the ass to animate.
So you're saying that most of Digimon operates on a principle of laziness?
Yes. Omnimon may not appear very much in the show, but DNA Digivolution does. In the second series, the villain's what he does is it's actually kind of intelligent. He sets up all these fucking towers that keep Digimon from digivolving. So the main character Digimon have to use special materials to digivolve. And then when they break the towers, they can digivolve normally. But when the time comes for them to digivolve to their ultimate forms, they're not been like. It's kind of like the job system in Final Fantasy. Like if you spent all your time in a different job and now you don't have the experience in the one you need.
Vaguely.
So now fuse, and it's really smart because instead of having 6 characters that you have to write your scenes around, now they're paired off and they fuse, and you only have 3.
Again, just laziness.
Of those 3, only one of them makes it to the mega level.
Oh yeah? Which one?
Yeah. Fuck. God damn it. I don't know his name.
Sounds
Dino
like
Beamon?
you didn't do enough research.
I think his name's Dino Beamon. Hold on.
What do you mean, hold on? What are you doing?
What? I don't. Mega form's name.
What? Dylan, you're not talking. There we go.
I'm back. Where did I cut out?
You said hold on.
Okay. I was gonna look up what the Digimon's name was, but that was clearly a mistake. I know what its mega form is called. Its mega form is called Imperial Dramon.
Wait, what? What was that garble of words you just spurted at me?
Imperial Dramon, like imperialism.
Ugh.
He's a dragon who turns into a mech. And in the fourth Digimon movie, he gains Omnimon's sword, Imperial Dramon fighter mode. Sorry, paladin mode.
So how many Digimon movies have there been?
Oh my god, fuck. We'll get to that. Let's finish this first.
Finish what?
Let's finish talking about the Digivolutions. So, 2 sets up these control spires. The Digimon can't Digivolve properly. No one can beat him because the good guys can't Digivolve. But guess what?
They find a way to beat him.
These hip new young tamers, their Digimon can do something called Armor Digivolve with the Digimentals.
What?
The Digimentals are these little eggs, and we evolve with them. They gain arms. And their armored forms are strong enough to destroy the towers. And when the towers are gone, their Digimon can also normal Digivolve. Stupid.
This is getting stupider by the minute.
So
you're really not okay, let me rephrase that. You're really digging yourself a hole here, because I tried to mention earlier, but you spent a good 2 or 3 months pretty obsessed with Digimon and just constantly messaging me about it.
I don't think it was 2 or 3 months.
It was at least 2 months.
I don't think it was.
It kept coming back. It kept coming back, and then you were super interested in that game that I don't even remember if it came out or not. I thought it was supposed to come out this year.
Cyber Sleuth. It did come out. I think it came.
Clearly, you didn't play it.
I played it. I played half of it. It was okay.
Half. Bah.
I played as much of it as I played of Zelda, apparently.
Sounds about right.
What's the next form of Digivolution? Armored Digivolution is like kind of an interesting concept because the eggs are based on the crests, which are these like the virtues of humanity or some shit. And technically, any Digimon
or some shit.
Technically, any of the Digimon can digivolve with any of the armor pieces. So you have an interesting setup of like, well, here's the Egg of Courage. I wonder what all 5 Digimon look like when they digivolve with it. And they never do that. Their own little, each one of them gets 2. And they never swap. And they stick pretty hard in their little groups. And then they just abandon it. Digimon who armor digivolve are all champion level, and pretty quickly they have to start fighting ultimate level Digimon, and it be armored formed anymore.
Okay.
The only exemption to that is Magnamon, who digivolves with the Digi-Egg, with the Digimental. Sorry, the Digimental. And I believe he's Mega level.
You're still just speaking gibberish. You know that, right?
So the next form of Digivolution is Biomerge Digivolution. And that's introduced in the 3rd season. And that's what happens when a trainer fuses with their Digimon so they can reach the Mega level.
You can fuse with a Digimon?
Yes. You try hard enough.
Are you getting...
And then the next form is some...
Congratulations, Dylan.
I hate myself and I want to die.
You didn't like the fact that the webcomic episode was our worst episode ever. So you made a new one.
I feel like this one's okay because it's an April Fool's joke. I think it's funnier if it's bad.
You can just hide behind the fact that it's supposed to be a joke. You're like Tommy Wiseau later saying, "Oh yeah, no. The Room was always supposed to be a comedy. It wasn't supposed to be serious. What are you talking about?"
I'm so fed up with this podcast, David.
Are you going to get to the point where tell me about why you found Digimon so interesting? What about it piqued your curiosity?
It's dinosaurs.
What?
That's it. It's dinosaurs.
It's just because it's dinosaurs. Just because
all the Digimon are. You got to put yourself in my shoes, David. You also have to understand I'm fairly younger than you are. Like 4, right?
What?
I'm 4 when Digimon comes out.
Oh, okay.
And the only thing in the world I care about, it's the only thing I care about.
You watched Jurassic Park when you were 4?
Dude, I watched Jurassic Park when I was 1. That's like, I have my first memory is the opening of Jurassic Park. Jesus
Christ. That explains a lot.
It's the earliest. Like, there's 2 memories I have that are argued. One of them is the end of Alien, when the Xenomorph is blowing out the airlock, and the other is the opening of Jurassic Park.
You had a fucked up childhood.
Kind of.
Your earliest memory should not be the fucking end of Alien.
I don't remember like it being gruesome. I just remember the alien outside the ship, and as a kid, I just remember going like, "What's this?" Like I didn't understand it. I couldn't make sense of it. Yeah, my mom had like a shit ton of movies because there was like a video store that was shutting down, so she would like buy them or whatever. She had a ton of fucking films. watch like Jurassic Park was always the one I watched. I was obsessed with it. It and The Lost World. I've owned so many versions of Jurassic Park. I'm so obsessive with Jurassic Park that when we went to the video store one day, I got really, really mad because there were 2 special editions of Jurassic Park and The Lost World, and on the cover, Jurassic Park was the T-Rex, and on the cover of the second were some Velociraptors. But I distinctly remember looking at that and thinking, that's stupid, because the T-Rex screenshot is from the second movie, and the Velociraptor screenshot is from the first movie. They got it wrong. And then my mom bought it, and I watched it for like 6 hours. So I go to the fucking video store, and I'm looking through cartoons and whatnot. You know, there's Pokemon or whatnot, but then there's Digimon, which has this giant fucking T-Rex with horns and shit. And that's all I needed. That's what I watched. And when you're that young and you have something seeded in you, it doesn't matter how bad it is, you know? Still is like a very distinct and very severe like love that you have for the rest of your life.
That's not true. I don't give a fuck about Power Rangers anymore.
Do you? Don't you?
No,
I bet.
don't.
Like, you're gonna tell me that you don't feel anything about Power Rangers.
No, and in fact, Power Rangers. The more we talk, the more I think Power Rangers is a lot like Digimon because it just keeps rebooting itself.
It's incredibly similar. It's very similar. It's effectively the same show. I guess we can talk about the show now.
Is Kaiju Big Battle and Digimon is, I don't know what the fuck Digimon is nerd Pokemon.
They turn into Kaiju. They get pretty big.
Yeah, but not like Power Rangers.
They never get like Godzilla big. They get pretty big sometimes. So the show begins. I guess Digimon as a whole begins in like 1996 as a variant sort of Tamagotchis. Tamagotchi, for anyone who doesn't know, because they're not really a thing anymore, they're these little pets, and they were like tiny eggs. They were like smaller. They were smaller than like and you just sort of it just did like 4 buttons.
They're like Poke Walkers.
Yeah, they're like Poke Walkers.
Or yeah, whatever. That's good enough.
And they were just these little cutesy animal things. They were super fucking popular. Not just in Japan, in America too.
I had a Tamagotchi. Do you have a Tamagotchi?
I think I did. But they very skewed towards girls. So Bandai was
they were also really stupid.
Yeah. But Bandai was like, well, we can make Tamagotchis for boys. Let's just make them ugly monsters. And that's where Digimon starts. Have you ever noticed how all the Digimon look kind of like
dinosaurs?
Not just like, well, yeah, like the way that we used to think dinosaurs look, but they're even smaller. Like Digimon look very compact.
Well, yeah, because the first ones are like half the size of people.
Yeah, but even like the big ones, like when you look at their profile, they like fit within like a tiny box almost when you look at them. Not literally fit in a small box, but like you look at a picture of a Greymon, like, short, you know? It's stubby.
It's not like Shin Godzilla.
It's not like Shin Godzilla, who's a mountain of meat. It's like a tiny, compact form. That's because they had to fit on the 8x8 pixel screen of a V-Pet.
Oh, so they were V-Pets originally.
That's why. Yeah, they were Tamagotchis, but you know, stores.
So is this before the show too, right?
This is before the show. And this is just like Pokemon is just picking up in a big way now.
Okay.
So Bandai sees this and they go like, well, shit, we need to get on this immediately. And they go into full-on production. They are producing. The first thing they produce is a manga. There's a couple of them, but the big one is V-Tamer, which went from 1997 to 2003. It's the longest-running Digimon manga.
Wow, that is really long. I mean, it's not like JoJo long, but
it's a reasonable run for a property tie-in.
Yeah, I suppose so when you put it like that.
Like, you look at the Pokemon manga, and it restarts every 2 years. You know?
Well, the original run goes for a pretty long time.
Yeah, but, like, one single storyline, like, that's not... Usually, there are a lot more...
Red was in there for several years.
Right, I guess it was. I don't know. I don't care.
At least if we're talking about the manga, like I mean, Ash is the main character of the anime, but every fucking season's a different game and shit.
Right. But that's what I mean. Like, every season is a different game, whereas in V-Tamer, it was a completely original narrative that went for the whole time. They were crafting an actual story. They didn't have anything before this. You have to remember, when it starts, there's no anime, there's no game, there's no nothing. So this dude is just
V-Pets.
It's sub NES level sprites, and that's all he has to go on as far as how to make a story out of it. And he did so for like 8 years.
Is there any cohesion between the anime and everything and all this stuff?
Yes and no. So the manga, the V-Tamer manga, has Tai as the main character, and he's effectively the same character in both that and the anime, but it's not literally the same character.
Different character.
He has the same personality, but it's different tellings of the GIF. It's effectively like Red in the games, it's not Red in the comic, even if they're the same character.
Okay.
Different events happen to them. So this is followed by, in 1998, I think, Digimon Adventure, which is a short that was supposed to be a standalone short, and I think was supposed to tie into the comic, but they instead retconned it to be a prologue to the anime. This is the first part of the Digimon movie. And Digimon movie, it's like 10 minutes. They heavily edit it down. The actual OVA is about 20 minutes. And if you don't ever watch anything about Digimon, which you really shouldn't, because none of it's very good, you should at least watch this, because I think it actually still works really well as a, like, attire of Pokemon way. It's mostly wordless. It's just about Tai, who is a 5-year-old, and his sister finding a Digimon egg and trying to, like, grow it and trying to take care of it until it becomes a monster that destroys the city.
Oh, wow.
It's in the American version. The weird thing is, the American version, they cut out a lot of the, like, horror elements, and it technically works better because it's supposed to be a prologue to the series where Digimon are kind of good guys. It really is what happened to Godzilla, where he starts out as this ultimate monster who then sort of becomes this force of nature, of good almost. And in the Japanese version, it's longer, and they really linger on some of the of what it would actually be to raise one of these things. Gorgeously animated. It's gorgeously composed. The dude who animated it would go on to animate The Girl Who Leapt Through Time.
I've heard of that.
He animated Summer Wars, and he animated most recently Boy and the Beast.
I've heard of those in reference to each other. Is that why? Because they're the same guy?
Yes. Summer Wars is also just the second Digimon movie again. Like the dude, like he took all the design of the second Digimon movie and made his own movie with it.
What's
it's kind
Summer
of
Wars
awesome.
about?
Summer Wars is about an MMO that a hacker takes over, and through the use of this MMO, he is able to kind of like control the information network. And it's about this family who's kind of connected to the hacker trying to fight back against it. It's very weird. And the climax doesn't really make sense because the climax is them playing shogi. And I don't know how to play shogi, so I have no fucking clue what's happening.
Which shogi?
It's a Japanese board game. Imagine the ending of the first Harry Potter movie, but you don't know how to play chess.
Is there chess in the first Harry Potter movie?
Yeah, remember they play life-size chess? Ron gets hit by the knight, and they think he's dead, but he's okay. Yeah, imagine that, but it's a weird Japanese board game. But it's gorgeously animated. It's a movie worth seeing. That dude is like, he is a recognized animator in the industry, and for good reason.
Is shogi that weird game that that Zuko's uncle plays with the tiles?
No, that's Mahjong.
Oh, that's right. No, he is playing Mahjong. Never mind.
Or similar, but I'm not positive on that. Digimon, that's all it's called. It's just called like Digimon Adventure OVA or something to that effect. If you just look up the first Digimon OVA, you'll find it. It's really good. Such the sense of scale of a Digimon so right, and it's so fluidly animated. It really is terrifying because there's another Digimon that he fights, and it's just there's fighting, and there's this like 3 and 5-year-old underneath them cowering the whole time. It's terrifying. It's great. That's followed by the anime, which I believe premiered like the same year. I think it might have premiered like the next week.
Wait, so Digimon can come out of the real world and they're just giant monsters?
Yeah, they can come into the real world and they still digivolve and shit. Like, it comes out of their computer as an egg, and they have to raise it until it becomes a Greymon, who is a T-Rex, basically.
Okay.
I think I've sent you GIFs of that movie specifically because it looks so fucking cool. To be completely honest, 9 times out of 10, Digimon look like trash. They're over-designed. There's too much happening, and because of their designs, the animation is. Yeah, but at least in those, like, they move fluidly. What's happening? You can tell that they're moving. The Digimon are so over-designed that the animation is really stiff as a result.
Oh.
But in the movies, they find they have enough of a budget to animate them well. And in that scene, like, it's awesome. It almost looks like they rotoscoped a real T-Rex. Except those don't exist. Actually.
Okay.
So that's followed by the anime. The anime follows this group of kids who go to summer camp and then get sucked into a wormhole and end up in the digital world.
So it's Tron.
Yes.
But with Pokemon.
They establish these characters as the Digi-Destined. There's 5 of them to start. They're Power Rangers in all but name. They are Power Rangers. They each get a partner Digimon who they help Digivolve and fight with.
I've heard that movie's not horrible, by the way.
Which one?
Power Rangers.
I can't believe that for a second.
I know. That's what I keep saying. It's getting like 7s.
7s. Whatever. Fuck. So at first they're really just trying to get back home. They decide that they want to help the Digimon save their world. The first Digimon they have to fight is Devimon, who's like this black evil angel looking motherfucker. Who's really sinister looking. They are willing to like make demonic looking dudes in that show, and then like to like write around it. Like, no, he's not the devil. He's just a vampire. Eventually, they find Iotismon, who is a vampire Digimon who wants to invade the real world.
That's not good.
The Digidestined have these things called crests.
Okay.
Which are, like I said before, they are the virtues of humanity that they expel. There are 6 in total. Let me see if I think I can remember them from memory.
Oh my god, this is so dumb.
Courage, friendship, love, intelligence, reliability, serenity, hope, and then the last one is light, but they don't know about light yet.
So they're not Power Rangers. They're the Planeteers.
What's the fucking difference?
Because with their power combined, they make better Digimon. Instead of Captain
Well, they don't combine. Well, they don't combine their powers really.
But you
I
said
guess
it's
2 of them do, but
it's the crucial aspects of humanity, and by working together, the Digimon get better.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Planeteers.
Myotismon does eventually invade the real world. So in the world of Digimon, like, people now know. It's not something that they can cover up that Digimon are real, because there's a full-on fucking invasion. Fucking stupid. What are we talking about?
Digimon.
Whatever. The first series of Digimon, they stop Myotismon. They have to go back to the digital world where they meet Apocalypse. Apocalypse
is the apocalypse?
Yes. It turns out Digimon are not supposed to be evil, but his presence in the digital world is so immense he distorts reality. The digital world works on a different time frame than the human world, where every minute in the digital world is a second in real life in our world. That's not supposed to be the case. It is supposed to be a 1-to-1 time frame, but Apocalypse is so immense and so powerful that he distorts space, and so we work on a faster time frame in the digital world.
Okay.
They kill Apocalypse. They set everything right.
Oh, they murder him.
Yeah. But I guess I kind of glossed over that Agumon and Gabumon, the 2 main Digimon, they become Megas, but no one else does, which is kind of shitty, I think.
Hi, Einstein. No, Dylan hasn't gotten to a point yet.
No, I haven't. So they kill Apocalypse, but because Apocalypse is also the only reason we're able to get to the digital world. He distorts space so much that he punches holes from their universe into our universe.
So he's like Cthulhu.
Yeah, but without him now
without intent.
But without him, the gateways between worlds disappear. So the humans have to leave their Digimon behind, and there's a big tearful goodbye because they'll never see their friends again.
Is that the movie?
It's and then that's how the show ends, and then the movie happens 3 months later, and they get to see them again.
Oh, okay.
It's not even 3 months. It's weeks, and then they get to see their fucking Digimon again. It's so fucking stupid.
See, even your body is like, this is stupid, Dylan. Why are you doing this?
Then comes the second Digimon movie, Our War Game.
Wait, what's the third segment in the Digimon movie? We've covered the first one, and then the second one. What's the third one?
Well, we'll get to this third one. We haven't gotten to that point yet. We're on the second one.
You're just talking about the second Digimon movie. No, I'm talking about the first Digimon movie you said is 3 different segments.
Yeah, well, so in Japan, they are OVAs, and they are combined in America for one movie.
Okay.
Yeah, so because of theatrical run, limitations in America, they just took the 3 OVAs, which are about 30 minutes each, put them into one movie, and pretended that they were a singular story. They're not. In Japan, they are separate things.
Definitely not.
So the second movie follows a Digimon being created on the internet who then runs amok and starts destroying it. Starts eating data constantly and digivolves too fast.
And this is the one that gets a happy ending where he's dancing through a field of flowers listening to Smash Mouth All-Star.
No, that's the third one.
Oh.
This is the middle section where they're inside the internet, and it looks really cool, but it's also really stupid because they're in the internet.
But this is the one where they get to see their Digimon again after the show ends.
Yeah. Yes. Omnimon shows up. Also, I want to mention real quick, it's so dated and stupid. The climax of the movie, the enemy Digimon calls every phone on the planet to slow the internet down so their Digimon can't get to him anymore.
That's not that stupid. That's kind of clever.
Oh my god, I can't believe you're defending it.
That's kind of clever.
It's also a reference to the Lawnmower Man. Because at the end of the Lawnmower Man, after he's dead, or when they're fighting him, he says that like he's going to call every phone on the planet because then they'll know he's in the mainframe. And then that's how the movie ends, with every phone on the planet being called. Except he seems to do it for no reason other than to do it. The enemy is like exploiting the weakness in technology.
Yeah, no, like that's why that's clever. Because if they're fighting you with the power of the internet, fuck up the internet.
And then all the kids. So they also established that the reason that those kids are the Digidestined is because they all saw Greymon's fight in the first quote-unquote movie. Because they all lived in the same town, so they all witnessed it. So that's why they were able to become the Digidestined. In this movie, it's established that kids from across the planet are all watching the final fight. So it sort of implies that there's going to be now like a international Digimon force. To answer your question, I have cried at the Digimon movie, because now that I'm thinking about it, I actually am starting to cry again. I swear to God, I am. If you listen to like the last 10 seconds.
I can hear it. I heard it. You're such an ass.
It really, because it's really sad, because the two Digimon are fighting the monsters, and they're dead. Like, they are floating in space, and their like armor is all fucked up, and they can't move anymore. But like through the power of love to them, and then they're able to merge together into Omnimon. So fucking stupid, but goddamn if I don't love it. Okay, so following that is Digimon Adventure 02, which is the second season of the show. That introduces... So in the original cast of Digimon, there are 5 of them. 4 of them are like 15, and then one of them is 12. That's TK. He is the younger brother of Matt, who is the like dudeagonist of the show.
Dudeagonist?
Yeah, dudeagonist. A dudeagonist is when there are 2 characters who are both the protagonist.
It's Ty and then Matt, right?
It's Ty and Matt. They have Agumon and Gabumon. They're the only ones who go to the Mega level. TK is Matt's younger brother, and then later, Kairi, who is Ty's younger sister, joins the group as well. And she has the light crest or whatever.
Season 2, though, right? Or is that season 1?
She gets it in the first season.
But she's one of the main characters in season 2, because they actually age everyone up.
Yes, yeah. So season 2 is TK and Kairi and 3 other kids become the Digidestined to fight the Dark Emperor, who is a corrupted Digidestined who has taken over the digital world, whose name in the Japanese version is the Dark Kaiser, which is way cooler.
Still pretty stupid.
Yes. they are, of course, able to convert him to the side of good.
Of course.
Only for there's a bizarre mastermind behind the events of the second season that they don't really establish early on. And he is creating all these evil Digimon before he then begins an invasion of the human world, where they then go on a globe-trotting adventure and they meet all the Digidestined to witness the events of the second movie. And then they kind of establish like an international Digimon force.
This is really dumb, Dylan.
So about midway through, the third OVA happens, which is the ending. This is the one that got cut the most in the American edit, to the point where it doesn't make any sense. In the Japanese version, there is a crazy Digimon going around, and he is somehow de-aging the original Digidestin. Like he's turning them into little kids. So it's up to the new Digidestin to stop him. And it's real fucking stupid. Like, it's incoherent, honestly. It doesn't, it's honestly, it's incohesive. Like, it doesn't make any sense. This is the Smash Mouth one, by the way. In case you were wondering.
Yeah, no, it didn't make any sense.
In that one, they established
this movie, by the way. Fucking hated it.
When I was like 12, I made my mom take me to the theater to see the Yu-Gi-Oh movie.
I made my parents take me to see the Digimon movie.
And afterward, I heard my mom talking to my aunt, and she's like, I have no fucking clue what's happening. And I look over, and Dylan is on the edge of his seat the whole time, and I can't make heads or tails of what's going on. And every time I think of Yu-Gi-Oh, that's what I think of now.
You just like, yeah, and your mom's like, I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah, because it is completely incoherent if you don't know what it is going in there. Fuck. Oh my God. So at the end of the second season, they reveal that the main antagonist is Myotismon, the vampire from the first series. He was destroyed, but instead of reforming, his consciousness just sort of floats around the universe until he accumulates power to reform in the real world.
That's dumb.
Dumb. Then the day is saved, and then they jump ahead to like 30 years in the future when everyone's an adult. The end of Digimon. So before we move on to the next series, I think we should talk about something that we've not really talked about in depth on this podcast before.
Which is?
Shipping.
What?
Shipping.
Why? Why are we talking
because
about
Because there's a big controversy in the Digimon community about shipping.
Which is?
So in Digimon, as I said before, amplify the virtues of humanity. One of those is love. That crest belongs to Sora, who is a character who is the childhood best friend of Tai. Logically, you'd figure those characters would end up together, wouldn't you?
Yes.
They don't. In the epilogue, it's revealed that Sora ends up with Matt instead, who I want to point out exemplifies friendship.
I'm waiting.
So in other words, Digimon has the most like profound friend zoning of any character in a cartoon ever, where the characters who exemplify friendship and love together instead of the main character. His best friend and his love interest end up together.
And that's bad.
That's really fucking bad. That's like in Fire Emblem Fates, where for some reason the localization team decided that the kid character would not have a love interest.
Which one? What are you talking about?
In the new Fire Emblem game, the last ones that came out, you can have a kid character.
That's on the evil. That's on the evil side.
I think it's on both of them.
I haven't run into a kid character, and I'm like 40 hours in.
But yeah, basically, like he has like 4 potential love interests, and in the American version, they all reject him.
Weird.
Not the Japanese version. Yeah, it's weird. It's super fucking weird. That's someone at Nintendo or Treehouse was like, you know what? We need to teach kids that you don't have a right to a woman's body. And fucking Fire Emblem. God damn it. This is a fucking SJWs, David. They're taking my animes.
Shut up. Get to a point.
And then there's season 3, Digimon Tamers. Tamers is pretty cool, actually, because they sort of deal more in a more realistic tone of the Digimon are like fighting, and when Digimon die, other Digimon eat their data. So it's sort of a higher stakes game. Has a really fucking weird finale because it starts out there's 3 characters and then they add a few more characters. And their 6th character is a girl named I don't know what her name is. But she gets a really powerful Digimon as her partner or whatever, who then gets killed. And when her Digimon gets killed, she goes insane. Like, full on, she starts talking through a hand puppet. And starts talking to herself. Psychotic break.
Nice.
And then the villain, which is just like someone created that has started taking over the digital world, like gloms onto her and uses her as like a conduit to take over the real world because she's so like fucking depressed that her best friend's dead. It's real fucked up. It's awesome. Oh man. Then there's Digimon Frontier, the 4th season, which this is the last one we're going to talk about because it's the last one I actually watched.
Okay, good.
And it's the last one to take like an interesting twist where instead of them having partners, they became the Digimon.
I'm sorry, I thought you said interesting twist.
It's kind of interesting.
You're dumb.
It is at that point it is just Power Rangers because it's halfway through the episode then they all just turn into Power Rangers.
So that's Digimon.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of games that people really care about. They're all bad. Sorry, they're all bad.
Even the one you played half of?
Cyber Sleuth is probably the best one, and even that is like a mid-tier. It's like if someone took a Persona game and removed all the challenge and like intrigue.
It's like the JoJo game that we played.
It's worse than that.
Oh, really?
Because that game at least has like good animation and like charm. Like there's shit in that game that's fun. And you know, to be fair, Cyber Sleuth it's an okay game to play, but fuck, dude, like every time I'm playing it, I'm just like I can just play Persona 4 again, and that would be not just a better story, but it would be a more fluid and funner game.
Oh well, okay.
But then whatever. This is the end of the show. This is a mistake.
I told you that in the beginning.
Yeah. This is
no, you said. It'll be hilarious. Digimon.
I gotta be honest. The only real reason I wanted to do this is because my buddy Kadeem, who does the art for us, we had come up with a really, really great art banner for this episode. It's gonna be
a good excuse.
It's gonna be the Shin Godzilla poster, but it's gonna be Metal Greymon instead of Godzilla.
It's a bad excuse. It's a bad reason. You're a bad person.
Sorry, I have a backup idea for an April Fool's.
We're not. This was our chance to record it. You don't get a second chance, asshole.
No, we're gonna put this one, but I got an idea I can do on my own that'll actually be kind of funny.
Like the website.
Yeah, I'm going to do gonna be an episode on the Angry Video Game Nerd, but I'm just gonna say ass for 2 hours.
that don't do it for 2 hours.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for like half an hour, and then I'm gonna loop it.
But even the fucking the laser time, or no, the Talk Radar April Fools, where it was a sim, it was all the gibberish people talking to each other for 20 minutes. It was only like 20 minutes.
Yeah, but that's what sets us apart from the rest, David.
You do the thing that people complain about Key and Peele for, is just leaning way too hard into a joke and killing it.
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Bye,
you on
everyone.
now. Bye.